Notman house itself, it's about 10,000 square feet gross. Built at the start of around about 1900s. Notman was actually a photographer that ended up being about the third or fourth owner of the place. And it's 2 floors plus a basement. 2 floors plus a basement and an attic. And the idea is, for the project we're working on, is to really have Notman House as being the place for for investors in early stage companies, whether that be seed funds, whether it be angel investors, and each of these offices will just be leased out to entities like that, maybe some not-for-profits involved in entrepreneurship that are interested in taking a place. This place is obviously facing Sherbrooke. It's a great location. It's 5 minutes walk to downtown, right on the edge of the plateau. One, two, three, four, five, six offices up here. So this is the house itself. Out on the other side, the window there is what used to be known as St Margaret's Hospital. Its own resident cat down there. And St Margaret's Hospital is about a 20,000 square foot gross property. It's got 3 floors plus an attic and a basement. And that is the spot which is going to be reserved for the startup teams and for freelancers in a co-working space. We can take a little bit more.
If you go opposite one here, you might be able to see where the house would be. And give you an idea where the coffee shop would be.
So this area in between the St Margaret's Hospital and the Notman House, that area will need to be taken down. It's falling apart. But this, as Dan says, is where we'll have the coffee shop open to the public with entrance from the street and a terrace on the roof. It's worth just having a quick look upstairs at the attic. And this place is currently, it's empty. The only thing they ever use it for is sometimes for filming movies. And you never know, therefore, what you're going to get up here. And actually, this is completely different to the last time I walked up here. Really nice, big, open space. But it's ironic. If you look at, if you come and have a look at the wall, and it looks very, very old. But actually, this is new jib which has been painted, because last time I came up here this was actually a movie set and the whole thing was closed and it was turned into 4 different rooms. So you never know what you're going to get. Yeah, I think maybe it's probably more likely to be for meeting rooms.
Yeah.
And brainstorming
spaces.
A
little sunlight
here. Because we expect the place, a lot of the place, it's going to be a creative place, a lot of different ideas, so it may even be that external organisations might want to come in and do some off-site think tank stuff and creative stuff, and this is a really nice space for that type of thing.
Yeah, you can just have a little. You can have some lounge and like.
So we're going down a different stairway now. This is the internal stairway. And I think as you come through, you can really smell the moisture.
Yeah.
And then we'll we'll keep going down and let's see what light we have. If you want to flip that one off down. And you just smell it more and more and more as you come down. It's very moist down here. Again, this is now in the basement of the Notman house. You see down here you can start to see what sort of state it's in. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to. And this is crumbling apart. And then we come through here. Lots more space down there, but if you come through here, we go on the third set of stairways. And this takes us into what used to be called the servants' quarters. And it was an extra addition that was stuck on the side of the building. And again, a couple more.
So that's the white addition on the side, right? Okay.
When you can, this gives you a first glimpse of the outside of the garden and what a beautiful space that could be if it was redone. And the idea is obviously to have that brought back to life. And
patio terrace, so that from the, because it'd be behind the cafe. Yeah, so you could be in the cafe, and in the summer you have a garden area, and also the deck above the cafe is exterior spaces for either just having lunch or having a coffee. You know, I'm sure there'll be the odd 5 à 7. You could do starter drinks there as opposed to, you know, it's really nice.
We want to make sure that it's, the whole point of that whole area is we need to be open, allow as many people that maybe are not members or don't have offices here, but that everyone's welcome to come in, students from McGill, which is just down the road, or from UCAM or Concordia, or even University of Montreal. Everyone's welcome to come on through.
So now we're back in the main.
So then if we go through the transition bit between Notman House and St Margaret's Hospital. This is access from the road, so the idea is currently it's all parking spaces. It would be to have access from the street so that people will come into the cafe. And then we come into the sort of the hub of itself, the real startup hub. Which is effectively it's divided into 2 wings, the west wing and the east wing, and each wing has 3 floors with what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Half a dozen.
Yeah, 7, maybe 7 offices. Each big enough, that's probably quite a good example, each big enough for 2 or 3 people. So the idea is, you know, they may not even be companies, but start-up teams that want to experiment and try and see whether they can develop an idea, develop a product. And the idea is, and it sort of very much links in with the philosophy that we've had with our venture capital fund and that Montreal Startup, and that we will have with our new one, Real Ventures. And that is that at the early stage, you need to have as much opportunity to get your idea out there, to get people bouncing ideas back, to constantly see whether you can iterate on your product in an environment and where you're constantly getting feedback, and also have it in an environment where there's constant time pressure, where you understand that you've got to move quickly, and whilst you have people around you that you're collaborating with, you also need to know that you've got to compete against those people at some point as well. So everyone motivates each other on, everyone inspires each other on, and everyone helps each other grow. And then you have this sort of space at the end, which again is supposed to be an open space where people will just hang out, the water cooler area, so to speak. So there's about 6 or 7 rooms here, and then you have the same on the other side.
And that's the same for 3 floors, right?
It's the same for 2 floors.
For 2 floors. And then
same for 2 floors. There is a basement as well, which, if it was done, it could be pretty good. It could be pretty good, but I mean, right now it looks like a perfect set for a horror movie. It really does.
There's an interesting stuff that could be done with the basement. For instance, the guys from Fula, people who are into more mechanical hacking, electronics, and this type of stuff. If people want a suite to do video editing in, or a sound booth to do recordings or podcasts, that would be a perfect space to do up for people. Can rent by the hour, they can come, they can.
And it's the same size as the whole building, right? So it goes from.
It goes from left to right, and the idea is probably that the bottom right here would actually be the kitchen for the cafe.
Okay.
But the left-hand side and all down this side
will be open too.
Yeah. So this is the 3rd floor, and the first 2 floors were about the startup spaces, startup teams. This floor is really split between 2 things. On the west wing is a place, we'll have a look at it, which is going to be for co-working. The idea here is the guys from Station C who have been building a co-working space up on the plateau, going to get involved with turning this into a co-working space, so people will be able to rent freelancers, graphic designers, copy editors, people that are associated with, I guess, web-centric industries, will be able to come and rent desks on an hourly or monthly basis, no long-term commitments. And then the other side, which is very similar but just much, much larger, which would be primarily an event space, sorts of things which we could hold events, community hold events. It would be open to the public to come and maybe organise events and have events here as well. We certainly see that Notman House is going to be one part of a network of spaces that Montreal needs. It's not the be-all and the end-all. I mean, the community works really closely with the SAT, and I think that on an ongoing basis we need to work closely with the SAT and with other spaces which support entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs, CEIM in Old Montreal or in the Centre or some of the other stuff that's the community's been driving.